Hey everybody, Tom Coyle. Wanted to talk about the Colorado victory over TCU yesterday. This is a great lesson in terms of data, how you analyze information, and leadership. So let's talk about the leadership lesson aspect of it first. One thing I think, two videos that encapsulate this. One, it shows Deion Sanders talking to the Colorado running backs, and he asks them, hey, if it's 4th and 1, who wants the ball to get that yard? Not a single hand went up. There was hesitancy, and Deion goes, that's why you all are going to enter the transfer portal. I want a guy who says, I want the ball when the game's on the line, when it's 4th and 1, and we need that yard. So as a leader, you have to establish a culture, and you have to get people to either adapt to the culture, or if they don't want to get on board, you send them packing and bring on people who do want to be part of the culture. And that's what Deion did. He had his first meeting, when he had his first meeting with Colorado players, he said, listen, most of you should enter the transfer portal. I got people I want to bring in. He had a vision. He knew what he wanted. And he looked at the organization, a team that had, like 2 wins last year. You don't fit what I want to do. That's harsh reality, but that's what he did. Now I do, and I think, he gave people opportunities, like those running backs when he had the video, hey, who wants the ball 4th and 1? Basically, one of those guys goes, give me the ball. Deion probably keeps him around. So you have to establish your culture, make the standards known, and enforce those standards. That's what Deion did. The other lesson is the data aspect of it. Apparently this result was a surprise. I didn't really follow a lot going into the game. And I went to DraftKings, but wait, Colorado's a 21-point underdog? Really? My take on it, I think, and I still think, that Colorado can score in any team in the country. Defense needs some work, and yesterday's game proved that point. But offensively, whew, Colorado will be in the national championship discussion. I think the defense holds them back a little bit, but they'll be in the playoffs, without a doubt. But why did analysts miss this? And my thing of reading a lot of the commentary and going back into it, I think it was a misunderstanding of data. And this is what we have to do as analysts. We have to get below the surface of the data. 1, Deion Sanders has a lot of HBCU players that played with him at Jackson State. And HBCU, the historic black colleges and universities, they typically, they don't play at the same level of conference play as like the Alabamas, the Michigans, Ohio States. They're in the 1AA, I believe, for what used to be 1AA, but they're not what was known as the Division 1A program. So it's perceived to have lesser talent. However, HBCUs have, first and foremost, produced NFL talent, top NFL talent. The other thing, too, is many of the players that Deion Sanders had, sure, they played for him at an HBCU, but many of these players were players who could have played anywhere. They chose to play with Deion. So when Deion was coaching at Jackson State, they went there. When he moved to Colorado, they followed him. One young man, and I apologize, his name escapes me right now, in yesterday's game, he caught a touchdown, and he got an interception playing on defensive back for a few series. This was a player who was a top-tier recruit, headed toward Florida State, and decided to play with Deion Sanders at Jackson State, and then he simply followed Deion Sanders to Colorado. So basically, the reason I thought, when I put my little small stakes bet on DraftKings, why this was an easy victory for Colorado, is that they didn't have lesser talent, as many of these folks predicting the game thought. They have top-tier college football talent who played for Deion Sanders because they wanted to play for Deion Sanders, and Deion sought them out. They played at an HBCU because Deion Sanders was coach at Jackson State. If Deion Sanders was coaching at Alabama, they would have gone to him and played at Alabama, or as we're seeing right now, Colorado. So he has top talent. We just looked at it, I'm not sure how good his son's going to be at quarterback because he played at an HBCU. So you're telling me that his son was not good enough to play in Alabama or a Texas or an Ohio State? Of course he was. He just wanted to play with his dad, and his dad wanted him because he fit the vision that Deion Sanders is trying to establish. And sure enough, yesterday, 4 touchdowns and 500 yards and change. This is top talent. So you have to really look below the surface, not just look at a label. He's got probably the most talented offense in college football right now. As I said, the defense is going to hold him back. So those are just my thoughts watching this. It was a great game, great result. I like what Deion Sanders is doing. There's some great lessons in organizational culture. Again, you've got to establish the culture, build the culture. You can't have cancer in your organization. So if people can't adapt to the culture, you got to send them packing and bring in the people who are going to be part of your culture. Have the vision. So wherever you are, I make this as a leader. I've got people on a Rolodex, on a list, if you will, that if I were ever in charge of an organization or I had the opportunity to bring people in, I know who I want to bring in. So start doing that now. You never know when your opportunity is going to come. You could be a Deion Sanders, get a chance to do like a Colorado type opportunity. Have that roster ready to go. Know who you want. Deion did, as my other favorite line from Deion Sanders, you don't go to the drive-thru not knowing what you want. Know what you want. So as a leader, know what you want, get what you want, and get rid of the people who don't fit what you want. And if you're looking at it from a data perspective, really dig deep. There's usually more than the story than what's at the surface. Take care. Thanks for watching.